Hi, I'm Marianne Clyde. Welcome to The Power of a Decision. Today I'm talking with Dominique Bleichenbacher. She is the CEO and owner of Belana HR Services. I am so excited to talk to her. She's in Switzerland, I'm in Virginia in the US, and we've got some great advice for you and ways you can use their HR company because she has people coming to her to ask questions. So let's get to that. Hey Dominique,
Hi,
great to see
Marianne.
you. All right, so you were telling me that there's a lot of people who hesitate to call you because either they're afraid it's going to be too expensive, or what are some of the reasons that they would hesitate to call you for your hour of consultancy?
I think it's either the fear of being too expensive, maybe also acknowledging to someone else that there are things they don't know and that they need help with and would appreciate help with, and sometimes just getting over your fear of asking a simple question and getting someone else's opinion on it.
And so important sometimes to get those second opinions.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you know, we're often blind to what we've always done and seen in the past, and we're blind to what other opportunities or possibilities are out there. And let's be realistic, we have a huge network in the background that we can rely on. So why not use us as your network to ask the questions and get the support that you need?
I mean, that's the whole reason we network at all, is because we use other people's networks to get to meet the people we need to meet and solve the problems we need solved and so forth. And Belana is such a, a wide-ranging company with so many services that they offer. But let's just start out because, you had said a lot of people, they just are afraid to ask. And you told me about a story about that was a real success story at one time. Can you tell me about that?
Sure. So, I personally knew someone. She still has a company of her own. She had 3 or 4 employees at the time, and had a bookkeeper doing her books, handled all of the things herself. But um, she got the information, or one of her employees came to her and told her that she had a cancer diagnosis, and that she would be out because she had to go undergo treatment, surgery, radiation, the whole thing. And for her, it was like, well, how am I going to deal with this? One, I on a personal level, because it's a long time employee. How can I best support her? Which is already amazing that she thought of that. Second, she also, well, what does that financially mean? Because one of my employees is falling away, so I can't. They're treating patients with massage therapy and acupuncture. How am I going to cover all of those clients that don't have her as a therapist anymore? And so she had a lot of questions and was afraid that there was a lot of things that she was going to end up with that she didn't know what to do with. So we ended up talking, and within, I want to say, half an hour or 45 minutes, we were able to literally lay out and explain what that means to her, what she needed to be careful, and what was important that she made sure for her employee, and how she would get the money back from the insurance, for example, in that case, because she had an insurance that would cover the cost, at least partially, of that what was missing, or the salary cost for that employee. So she was able to not only hire someone else to basically cover during that part, at least partly cover during that time, but she was also able to recuperate the cost. So it wasn't any additional cost for her.
Wow. So within 30 minutes or 45 minutes, you guys figured out answers to all her questions, and then could provide her with a plan for how you could support her
Yeah.
continually.
Yes, exactly.
That's awesome. And you told me too, she's cancer free.
Yeah, her employee has been cancer free for 3 or 4 years now, so it's amazing. It's a success story all around. So it worked out. We were able to help her, not just within those 45 minutes, but thereafter, getting it all solved, doing all of the declarations and all the calculations to make sure. And that was, I don't know, maybe on a monthly basis, half an hour or 45 minutes. It wasn't much more work than that.
Wow. So with compassion, with non-judgment, with creative answers and much resourcefulness, you can help people with a variety of problems.
Yes.
You. And you do this generally through this HR consultancy hour. You offer to people, they can call you and they can just make an appointment for a 30-minute appointment, and they can talk about give me some examples of other problems people would come to you for. I believe you work with individuals, you work with small companies, you work with large companies, because you've got such a broad base of clients and so forth. You can help almost anybody that would want to ask you something.
Yeah, I think, I mean, to we started out with, covering why people don't dare to ask,
Hmm.
or reach out. So that's why we developed and came up with the service for the HR consultancy hour. So the first 30 minutes is free. You can go to our website. You can you have a calendar there where you can request what time works for you. You will meet with someone one-on-one. You'll have a real-time discussion about the problem, and then based on that, well, you'll go from there. And it's something that's not just for companies, whether small, from 2 or 3 employees to, I don't know, a couple thousand, um, where maybe you're just looking for a second opinion on something, or I don't know, there's a topic that came up and you want to kind of have someone to bounce ideas off. It's also for individuals. Oftentimes, we're looking for support at home, or um, we have questions. Example, a woman is pregnant and doesn't know what to do. It's the first child. She's working at a company. She doesn't know what she has to do, what she needs to do, what her rights are, what is possible. That is something where we can help and just give some pointers. It can also be that you're hiring a housekeeper, or some domestic help, and you're looking for someone that can explain to you what you need to declare, what insurances you need to have, and what that entails. It can also be what we've often had is that employees get a raise, let's say $400, and at the end of the month, the first months that they actually had the raise showing up in their paycheck, end of the month they have $150 left. Where did the
Where'd that money
$250
go?
go? So oftentimes people's like, can you look through this and give me some insight on whether this is really right? So
Mhm.
yes, that's what we're here for. That's what we can do. And and we wanted to give back. We have a vast knowledge and we want to give it back.
Well, that's incredible because you have so many things. You told me, people have a lot of assumptions when they call you, and they're afraid that they'll look foolish or whatever might go wrong. And the way you approach them is you're completely non-judgmental. You're there to help them. A lot of people have personal issues like that, a pregnancy or a cancer diagnosis, or something that they might be embarrassed to talk to someone about. And yet that's what you do. You're there for them personally and professionally to help guide them to make the best decisions they can.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and we were talking too about, so how can people in the States and people in Switzerland both utilize your services?
So in Switzerland, I think it's probably easier, or easier to understand that all kind of HR related questions you can bring to us. and we provide you as much as support as we can, or guide you in the right direction if there needs to be maybe a lawyer involved or someone else.
Mhm.
Um, or then go further and explain what it would entail for us to really provide the support needed. If it's someone in the States, I think there are multitude of things that can be. One, sure, someone, for example, is traveling to Europe or Switzerland and either going on a workation, which is the big new thing that we all like to do, but is not that easy to do because of tax and social security and whatever reasons, and has questions regarding this, so we can clarify some topics there. It
So
could
the
also
question,
be.
if I want to go to Bora Bora from the
Hmm.
States
Yep.
and I'm taking my computer and I'm going to spend 30% of my time working, do I have to pay taxes in Bora Bora?
I don't know on top of my head. I would have to look into it because it all
Those are the
depends
kinds
on
of questions.
yeah, but those are the kinds of questions that, and it becomes more complex because years ago it was someone was going being an expat, or they spent 2 years in a place. Now it's more like I get on a plane, I spend 2 weeks in Germany, I spend 2 weeks in France, I will spend 3 weeks in the US, and then I come back to Switzerland, for example, or the other way around.
Yeah.
um, and the topic shows up as so am I becoming tax liable, am I not, when am I, what am I allowed to do?
Mhm.
um, and those are things that are important to know. Can I do this on a tourist visa, for example, or within the 90 days, or is that already an issue? And those are things that we can answer.
And those are things a lot of people don't really think of. So the idea that you've got the answers before they go is probably a really great way to help people.
Yeah. Or I just actually thought of it. A colleague of mine who is in the States, US national, is traveling the world, and she's coming to Europe for the summer or starting soon. I think she's traveling next week. And she doesn't want to apply for a visa. So she has, in the Schengen area, you have 90 days. Now, the tricky part is to know which part is Schengen and which one is not, because the 90 days only count with that region and within those countries, and the others are excluded. So that makes a difference, because if you just take 90 days and you assume that, for example, the UK is part of it, and she spent 3 weeks in the UK, then you already deducted 21 days from the 90 days. However, the UK has never been part of it, even before Brexit and everything. That makes a difference. And
Ah,
that's important things to know, and where we can help.
wow, that's fascinating because I think those things will make people crazy
Yeah,
with worry and or ignorance, just not knowing. So that's awesome. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put all your information along the bottom of the video. But is there anything before we go that we haven't touched on, that we talked about, or that we didn't talk about yet, that you want people to know?
I think don't be afraid to ask and use. Yes, sometimes there or oftentimes it ends up costing some money, but ultimately, if you have someone, and that's the experience and the feedback we often get from clients, um, we're experienced in doing this, and we are faster in the topics than if you just go to someone and you pay. So use the 30 minutes. If we're going to be honest, if we can't help you, we'll let you know.
Mhm.
And we point you in the right direction and do our best to make sure that we have someone that can help you. But make sure that you take the courage and ask, because
Mhm.
oftentimes you're not going to get an answer. And sometimes we have to step over our fear in order to get the right answers and the support that we need.
Absolutely, because that woman you told us about at the beginning, who, what if she had not stepped past her fear to make that call? It's the whole point about why successful business people are decisive
Yep.
because once you make a decision and take action, a whole lot of problems, and you could save yourself a whole lot of trouble. And so
Oftentimes you save money in the long run.
that's right. So Dominique, what a privilege to talk to you and get to know what it is you offer. I am pleased to have this conversation with you. I've learned so much already.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to talk to you.
My pleasure. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Bye.